Every 2 years, the Australian Bureau of Statistics releases a survey of Australian household income and wealth, with its latest survey for the 2019-20 financial year released in April last year. The surveys provide the most reliable information available regarding how much Australian households really earn and how wealthy, in terms of net worth, that is, assets less liabilities, they really are. In this video, we'll have a look at some of the survey findings, but as a summary comment, my take is that Australians neither earn as much nor are as wealthy as what the market is trying to flog aspirational and high-end luxury goods and services would have you believe. How then are we affording the increasing numbers of expensive motor vehicles, luxury escapes, and directing even more money into already inflated housing? By taking on more debt, with the trends providing evidence that not only is the average amount of household debt increasing, but that it's been held for longer. In terms of the Fit and Health approach to financial health, the surveys suggest that the nation's personal financial health continues to deteriorate. We wouldn't advocate that on average, you look to your neighbours' financial behaviours as a guide to your good financial health. Hi, I'm John Lesky, recently retired personal financial advisor and founder of FinHealth, a tool to guide you to your financial independence. First, let's have a look at the distribution of household income. Household income is a broad concept, including not only employment and business income, but also government pensions and allowances, investment earnings, and receipts from superannuation. This chart provides the distribution of household income for 2019-20. It shows the percentage of households with annual income that falls within the indicated ranges, varying from incomes less than $57,200 a year to more than $286,000 a year. The chart reveals that more than 80% of Australian households have income less than $182,000 a year, and only 6.1%, or an estimated 460,000 out of a total of 9.73 million households, receive more than $286,000 a year. This next chart shows how the distribution of household income has changed over the 10 years since 2009-10, all in 2019-20 dollars. It reveals a sizable decline in the percentage of households receiving less than $57,200 a year since 2009-10, and increases for all brackets above $114,400, with the biggest rise experienced by those receiving more than $286,000 a year. In summary, household income has risen since 2009-10, but the lion's share has gone to those on higher income. Next, we examine household wealth distribution. Similar to the income chart discussed earlier, the chart on the screen now shows the distribution of household wealth for the indicated brackets, varying from less than $500,000 in net worth to more than $10 million in net worth. It reveals that almost 94% of Australian households have net worth less than $3 million. At the other extreme, roughly 0.6%, or only about 60,000 of households, have net worth in excess of $10 million. This chart shows how the distribution of household wealth changed over the 10 years since 2009-10. Declines in the proportion of households with net worth less than $1 million are mirrored primarily in an increased percentage of households with net worth between $1 to $3 million. The percentage of households with net worth in excess of $5 million grew from 0.8% to 2.4%. Taking these household wealth figures at face value, my sense is that there are nowhere near enough high net worth households in Australia to support the luxury goods and services that the marketers continually push at us and we, as a nation, actually consume. A possible rationalisation for this behaviour is that the target market isn't the fairly small number of genuinely high net worth households, but rather those that want to appear wealthy. This is potentially a vastly larger market that, on average, really shouldn't be tempted if good financial health is important to them. These charts show the change in the major components of net worth for the average household over the 10-year period 2009-10 to 2019-20 by 2019-20 dollars and proportions. As at 2019-20, average household net worth was $1.042 million, up from $0.878 million in 2009-10, a real increase of 1.7% a year. Financial assets have taken an increased share of net worth, mainly driven by increased superannuation, rising from 16.1% to 22.1%, partly offset by increased loans secured by property from 14.6% to 17.6%. There are a number of concerning aspects to the increase in debt. A growing percentage of households have debt, with the proportion rising from 71.9% in 2009-10 to 74.6% in 2019-20. This chart shows, by net worth quintile, the change in the percentage holding debt over the 10-year period. The growth in households with debt is most apparent in the wealthiest fourth and fifth quintiles. This next chart reveals how the proportion of households holding debt has changed by age over the 10-year period. For me, a concerning evident trend is the increase in debt held by those with the reference person aged over 55. Since 2009-10, the percentage of households holding debt aged 55 to 64 has grown from 70.9% to 79.7%, and for those older than 64, it has increased from 40.5% to 49%. At a time in life when good financial health suggests debt should either be totally repaid or at least in rapid decline, Australians are going further into debt. For many, their future savings from earnings will be insufficient to repay outstanding debt before a desired retirement date, suggesting an unhealthy resort to savings, particularly superannuation, and/or a forced housing downsize. This chart shows the percentage of households with debt greater than 3 times income, once regarded as a concerning level of debt. It highlights that an increasing number of these older borrowers have a risky level of debt, while more households in all age groups, other than for the 15 to 24 year category, took on more high risk levels of debt over the 10-year period from 2009-10 to 2019-20, the 55 to 64 year old group went from 18% in 2009-10 to 24.9% in 2019-20, and the 65 to 74 year category went from 7.1% to 10.8%. Assuming the trend continued into the 2021-22 survey period, it's likely that many of these households that were contemplating or had entered retirement with excessive debt are currently feeling real interest rate pain. So, what are my takeaways from this brief summary of the most recent Household Income and Wealth Survey? First, the number of high income households and high net worth households in particular are a lot less than my observed experience would have suggested. Perhaps, on average, there is too much focus on living for today rather than accumulating wealth to be able to enjoy tomorrow. Second, The fact that the national household debt trends are also going very much in the wrong direction for good financial health supports this proposition. While the low interest rates of the COVID era may have encouraged people to take on more debt than what has been historically prudent, the desire to have it all now is probably part of the explanation. The trend for households carrying more debt for longer is particularly unhealthy. As we have discussed in our video blog, Borrowing to Invest, Understand the Risk It Creates, if your future expected savings from earnings are likely to be insufficient to repay debt, the debt is regarded as speculative in nature. Sales of assets, perhaps including the family home, will be required to at least partially repay outstanding debts. The timing of the sales may not be of your choosing and could jeopardise retirement plans. Among other things, FinHealth's view is that good financial health dictates that you shouldn't ever borrow more than your expected savings from earned income could comfortably support. Unfortunately, at a national level, it's taken a sharp rise in interest rates to reaffirm that debt is always a two-edged sword. Hopefully, you found this video of interest. I'd like to know what you think. Please provide any comments or questions below. Finally,